We've got World Soil Day coming up, and I'm going to try and encourage you to get interested in soil. It's kind of a paradox as an organic farmer. We spend so much time trying to get rid of what nature likes, which is perennial plants and a constant cover, and try and get an open field like this one here so that we can grow our crops. In doing so, we destroy, we kill so many of the worms, we destroy the fungi, we plough it, we turn it over, we put all the bugs that like being on the top on the bottom, we expose the stuff from underneath to the sunshine, we drive over it with 10-ton tractors and squeeze the life out of it. The way we treat the soil is really, it's a violent act quite often. We've got 7.5 billion people to feed on this planet, and supposedly we're going to have 11 billion before very long. We are going to have to cultivate the soil, but we really need to look after it better than we have done so that it's there for future generations as well. So, how do we look after it? Well, don't poison it. So insecticides kill the invertebrates in the soil. Fungicides kill the fungi in the soil. Herbicides actually have a terrible effect on the bacteria. Soluble fertilizer, ammonium nitrate, used in huge quantities, is a toxin. I mean, try putting some on a slug, it will kill it. It'll kill an earthworm. They are awful for the population in the soil. So, so much better if we can feed the soil with its natural food, which is organic matter. Animal manures, even better, compost. And then when we cultivate the soil, we've got to try and avoid cultivating it when it's wet. I think we really got to get away from all the really, really heavy machinery that we use. Just about all our food crops are annuals, which means, you have to cultivate the soil every year, turn it over, all that violence and destruction and death that you cause in the soil in order to grow your crop. It would be just brilliant if we could just plant something and then come along and pick it every year. Indeed, I'm standing in a field of cardoons, but you can do just that. It is my absolute favourite crop. Most of our major food crops, wheat, oats, rice, maize, they all come from perennial plants. We have turned them into annual plants through our crop breeding. And of course, if you're a seed company, you don't really want to sell a perennial crop because you're only going to sell it once. Much better that the farmer has to come back to you and buy new seed every year. Sorry, a little bit cynical there, but could that be why we have turned so many of those perennial crops into annual crops? And I think if a fraction of the amount of effort that went into developing GM crops had gone into developing perennial crops, I think we'd have them by now, and the whole problem with soils would largely go away because we wouldn't have to be cultivating them every year. We've got to look after these soils, or they're not going to produce anything at all. We've got to get a lot smarter and not just plough because we can, apply pesticides because we can, take a more ecological approach to looking after our soils, which will involve a lot more diversity, a lot more mixed crops. It'll involve a lot more perennial crops, and in a mixed up system like that, it could be a lot more productive than monocrops. We just got to get away from this sort of one solution fits all approach to agriculture, which has led us to the monocultures of annual crops, which are destroying our soils. Some people say we've only got 50 or perhaps 100 harvests left. I think that depends entirely on how you look after the soil. If we look after it properly, we should be able to continue feeding ourselves forever.